Good evening. I'd like to call the Water Pollution Control Authority and regular Town Council meeting of North Branford to order at the North Branford High School cafeteria. It is 6:35. Please join me in a salute to the flag.
Let's just pick a corner.
Okay.
Right there. It's fake. Can we just pretend it's there?
Yeah, not one in the library all the time.
I don't know.
Place should use this flag.
Yeah, we'll just wait for Mr. Florio to get a flag.
I don't know. I don't think we have a flag.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Sorry. John, Joe, Al.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. This is mine or yours?
That's mine.
Okay, where'd you find that one?
Okay.
It's just easier for me to see it.
Check that one.
Roll call. Here.
Present.
Here.
Council. Yes, Councilor Diamond.
Yeah, she's
He
here.
was interrupting me.
Miller?
Here.
Council Paladino?
Here.
Council Felicia?
Here.
Council Santana?
Here.
Okay. Next item is minutes of approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Do I hear a motion to accept the March 12th, 2024 budget workshop at 6:30?
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. The next one is approval of the minutes of the March 19th, 2024 WPCA and Town Council meeting. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. On to Water Pollution Control Authority agenda. Correspondence and statements regarding the WPCA. Hearing none. Going to unfinished business. There is none. New business. No new business stated. And back to citizen statements and petitions, WPCA. Okay. On to regular town council meeting. Town managers report, general updates.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, councilors. The work on the proposed town budget has been completed, and councilors received their findings this week. And the full proposed budget is printed before you this evening. And as we know, the public hearing on the town and Board of Education budgets will follow the council meeting this evening. Today, April 2nd, is World Autism Awareness Day. April is Autism Awareness Month. This year marks the 17th annual World Autism Day and provides an opportunity to increase understanding and acceptance of people with autism, fostering worldwide support. Autism Speaks at www.autismspeaks.org provides free resources. In conjunction with this, North Branford Police Department and North Branford Fire Department, Parks and Recreation, and Hometown Foundations Incorporated are partnering with the Linked Autism Safety Project for a sensory-friendly public safety day on April 9th, 10 o'clock to 11:30 a.m. at North Branford Fire Company 2 on Middletown Avenue, where kids can meet and greet officers, firemen, see patrol cars, ambulances, and fire apparatus and get a tour of the building. Again, this is a sensory-friendly event for individuals with developmental, cognitive, and physical differences. The event is open to residents and non-residents. Pre-registration is requested and can be done on the North Branford Park and Recreation page at northbranfordctmyrec.com. Today is also primary election day. There is still time to go to the polls if you're registered as a Republican or a Democrat to vote for your party's presidential candidate. Polling places are District 1, Jerome Harrison Elementary School, District 2, Stanley T. Williams Community Center and the Senior Center Gym Cafe, and District 3, Stanley T. Williams Community Center and the BOE Meeting Room. Voting hours are 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I want to extend thanks to our hardworking registrars of voters and their volunteers, as well as our town clerk's office staff who have gone above and beyond this past week to accommodate the new early voting, in addition to the normal absentee ballot primary election activity that keeps them busy at this time of year. This past weekend, North Branford Company 3 held their annual Easter egg hunt at Northford Park. I was pleased to attend, and the event had all the calm and relaxation you would imagine when a few hundred children run across an open field trying to get candy out of the grass ahead of each other. It was, as always, an enjoyable event, and our thanks to the Easter Bunny, who made a special appearance, as well as everyone at Company 3 who makes this a fun event that children look forward to every year. Parks and Recreation are hosting the return of the Junk in Your Trunk, Saturday, April 27th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Stanley T. Williams Community Center, where you can sell tag sale items from your vehicle. Cost is $10 per parking space, and bring your own table to display your goods. Register in advance at nbrecreation.com. Our annual Memorial Day Parade is at the end of next month, and I'm thankful once again that Gina Cox and Kathy Poston have agreed to take on leading the organization of a Memorial Day Parade. We've held 2 organizational meetings, including Public Works, Fire, and Police, on logistics and securing parade elements. We have some new elements this year, which we're excited about, as this is an important event that continues to grow. And now with the creation of the Veterans Service Commission, Chuck Larkins of the commission will be joining us as we continue to finalize the details to put on the parade, which will be held on the Northford side of town this year. Scrap metal pickup is going on this week at your regular collection day. This includes air conditioners, dehumidifiers, microwaves, large appliances, refrigerators with doors removed, metal lawn furniture, hot water tanks, tools, metal fencing, file cabinets, furnaces, garbage pails, non-riding lawnmowers with gas removed, outdoor grills, small machines, and aluminum siding. There'll be a free electronics recycling event on Saturday, April 13th. This includes TVs, CD, DVD players, VCRs, computers, monitors, printers, laptops, keyboard, mice, wires, hard drives, small kitchen appliances, etc. The drop-off location is the Public Works facility at 290 Forest Road from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Special thanks to the Solid Hazardous Waste and Recycling Committee and our Public Works Department for coordinating in conjunction with Take 2 Electronics Recycling. Bulk pickup will be the week of April 15th on the day of your regular pickup. This includes tree limbs, tree branches, scrap wood, rugs, which all need to be less than 4 feet long, no thicker than 4 inches, and need to be bundled and tied. Couches, mattresses, box springs, picnic tables, and wooden furniture, no scrap vehicle parts, and no home cleanouts. The Hazardous Waste and Recycling Committee will be holding their annual Earth Day event on Wall Field ahead of Little League's opening day on April 20th. This year, the committee is reaching out to businesses, nonprofits, hobbyists, and organizations that sell products and services that are eco-friendly. The committee will supply tables to participants so they can meet with residents while they walk the infield of displays. And there will be a training event for members of elected and appointed town boards and commissions and their clerks conducted on April 17th, 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers at Town Hall. Instruction will be on procedure, Robert's Rules of Order, and Freedom of Information Act compliance. Training will be conducted by Town Attorney Brian LeClaire and me. So far, we have over a dozen members signed up, and members should RSVP to Gina in my office. We'll be holding more of these training events before the year is out to attempt to reach everyone who needs the training. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Next is Permanent Project Building Committee.
North Branford Intermediate School, the project is expected to ramp up during the April break, which is just around the corner. North Branford High School, the roofing is also almost complete and the rooftop units are being installed. Gum masonry is almost complete. Interior CMU punch list is being worked. Interior painting continues, and the new scheduled completion date is September 11th. North Branford Police Department EOC project, the pre-pavement binding is scheduled for this week, and elevated delivery is scheduled for April 15th. Interior finishes are ongoing, painting, ceiling, grid, and flooring, and the new scheduled completion date is June 13th. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Community events and presentations. Seeing none, we will move on to citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence. Okay, hearing none, we will move on. There are no resignations or appointments, so we are on to unfinished business discussion and action. Item A is discussion and review of the 2019 blight ordinance proposal. So the town manager and the town attorney have reviewed this, and this, I believe, is the updated version.
That's correct. This is the product before you is the result of the conference that the town planner and the town attorney and I had in reviewing this, and this is what we've submitted to the town council for their consideration.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions, comments in regards? We received this at our last meeting, and now it's in our packet for discussion.
I would just like to ask the town manager, in terms of the enforcement people he's listed, how does he determine who he's going to send out on a particular issue?
I'm sorry, I had trouble hearing you down here.
Who you're gonna send out for enforcement purposes on
Oh.
different issues?
Gotcha.
I would just like to ask the town manager, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
When I look at, it's 5, you determine who's going to be the enforcement officer. How do you determine that on a particular issue? Who would go out?
I think in all likelihood that it would end up being, it would be the town planner in his capacity as a zoning enforcement officer.
Excuse me, can you speak just a little loud? I can't hear you now.
Yep, sorry. In all likelihood, it would be the town planner acting in his capacity as a zoning enforcement officer.
And then these other people you would use if you had to, is that it?
Right, they would be
Okay,
ancillary
thank you.
possibilities, yeah.
Has the committee that brought forward the blight ordinance, have they reviewed this and have they submitted any comments or anything in regards to it?
We haven't reviewed this with the committee that had been formed back in 2019.
Okay. I don't know. Is the council prepared to vote on this tonight, or do you want to table it? We can table it if you.
I make a motion to table it for
Okay.
further review.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded to table this. Do you want to table it until our May meeting? Because our next meeting is budget,
Yes.
which could be.
Yeah, we-
So to table this until our May meeting. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is creation of the 1831 committee, which, is on here, so we don't forget about it. I don't think there's any updates in regards to that committee at this time. And item C is the Town Center Committee. So at the last meeting, we asked the town attorney to look at this, because there was some question as far as the makeup of the committee and could you have people from that are already on other committees be on this committee? So do we have an answer on that?
Ex officio, respond, they're ex officio.
Should I make a motion to accept the committee as we discussed?
Okay. I'd like to hear from the town attorney as to, because there was question and I don't know that we got an answer on it as far as, because as it was discussed is having members of other boards and commissions being part of the committee. And that's what we asked him for clarification for, so.
I think this is okay the way we have it, the way you have it proposed, taking people that may be on other boards and commissions, given the advisory nature of this particular committee.
Okay,
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I ask a question?
sure.
How many boards and committees are we gonna allow people to serve on? That's directed at the town attorney. Because there's people that are on several boards and committees, and, I think we're getting a little carried away at times with that, and I think we should try to get some fresh faces on some of these boards and committees.
I don't know if that's really, to me, that's something that you as the appropriate body needs to decide when you're appointing folks to those, and soliciting folks for
What does
these.
the charter say about
Give me a minute, I can pull that up if you want. We can. Want to go to the next one or just come back to that in a second? Is that
Sure.
Faster. Let's see if I can.
Okay, so we'll come back to item 11C. So moving on to 12A, review and approval of public works seasonal job description.
Good evening. I was speaking with Brandon and Dan. They're going to start their recruitment for the seasonal public works help. And it came to my attention that there was no job description for that position. So we have before you a draft that they have reviewed and approved for your review.
Okay. So do I hear,
I'll make a motion to approve the public works seasonal job description.
is there any discussion? Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion?
I mean, my only question, I mean, I know it's a seasonal position and we're calling it that. Are we okay by just leaving it seasonal? We don't have to specify any specific timeframes? Is that okay? I mean, I would want to put this out there and it doesn't, have start and end times and.
Yeah, there are limits to when a seasonal position becomes a full-time position. I'll work on that with Fran and Dan. I don't know in our contract.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's all. Thought I would check. Okay.
And then seasons are just summer and summer.
Gotcha. No, I just want to make sure that it jives with everything. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next item is annual CMed funds designation.
Madam Mayor, this is an exercise that happens every year. The state awards us money for CMed services to designate who receives that money on our behalf. You'll notice in my memo that last year AMR functioned as MedCom. MedCom has since broken off and incorporated themselves. So this year the motion would be to designate MedCom Inc. as the recipient of our CMed funds for the 24-25 fiscal year.
I'll make the motion, be hereby resolved that the town council instructs the treasurer or finance director to notify the State Department of Emergency Service and Public Protection that the town of North Branford designates MedCom Inc. as the recipient of the town's CMed funds 24-25 for 24-25 pursuant to section 28-24-7 A and B.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is application for ARPA nonprofit organization funding. The first one is from the North Branford Land Conservation Trust. So this is a new application, and it is the last application that we have received. Applications closed as of April 1st.
Madam Mayor, just so you're aware, we did receive one more before the close of the April 1st deadline.
Oh, you did?
And
Okay.
that'll be coming to you, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So I know the president of the land trust, Dave Sargent, is here. Dave, do you want to just come up for a little bit and give us a little insight into this application?
Good evening, I'm Dave Sargent, the president of North Branford Land Conservation Trust. As we all know, COVID affected all of our lives and shortened the amount of outside activities the land trust could have. We couldn't have groups and so forth. And we realized at the same time that people wanted to get outdoors. We need more outdoor activities. And we're in the process of acquiring the 2 parcels of Beach and Palm Street, which is costing about $585,000. And we thought, as part of the state grant, that we'd include an ADA compliant trail and parking lot on the road to the trail with this. And this will be the first ADA compliant trail in our town.
Okay, all right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Is that parking lot right on the corner there? Is that where it's gonna be, on the corner of?
No, it's, actually, we plan it to be from an existing old woods road, which would have to be improved. You have to get machinery in there, grade it, and put some parking. So there's, if you're on, Beach Street, about halfway down the parcel, there's a set-in gate area which the water company used to use, which they don't use anymore. And that's where we plan on opening up public access for the public.
And where would those trails lead to?
So we're going to, in the bigger picture, we're going to do a trail around both parcels. But for ADA compliance, we're going to have a road into the parcel with, not sure how many parking spots, there'll probably be 3 or 4 ADA parking spots. And then there'll be an ADA compliant trail to a vernal pool. The vernal pool is a special pool. It's great for educational purposes. It's an intermittent pond. And the difference between that and something that is constantly there, is fish can't grow there, so they can't eat frogs and tadpoles and things like that. So it's a special water pond.
And how many acres is that whole area there?
26 acres.
Thank you.
Is the ADA, is that a requirement, or is that something that we're doing to?
We're doing to make, the land trust is doing to make more accessibility to all different people.
Okay.
So at this point in our town's history, we don't have anything like that for outdoor activities. And this is like the perfect time to try to do it.
Okay.
It's not an inexpensive thing to do.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that is because we didn't, that trail that was gonna start at the library wasn't gonna be ADA.
No, that's not ADA.
Right. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I feel like I'm too tall.
Okay. So just as a point of reference, at our last meeting, we put additional funding into the pool. The original pool of money was $50,000, and we added $25,000. And at this point in time, from everything that we have already awarded, there is $13,000 left into the pot of money. So if anyone is prepared to make a motion as to how much you want to, the request is for $15,000 from the land trust.
I'd like to make a suggestion that maybe we table this until we get the final request in, and then we can take a look at both and the remaining money together.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. The motion has been made and seconded to fund, to table this request until our next meeting when we have the last application in, and then make a decision at that point in time. Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. The next one is a continuation. It's Water and Webb's Waterbird Rehabilitation Center. Okay. You can take it, you can, yep.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me another chance to apply.
So at the last meeting, we had requested a breakdown of the $4,000 request, and I don't see it in our packet. I'm not sure what you presented to the town manager, if you gave him a detailed breakdown.
Yeah, there's a proposal, and Mosaic, the marketing company that we'd be working with, he did that.
I think they're in your packets, your folders, I believe.
Yes, so, well, I saw that as far as making the website, but at the last meeting when we talked about it, you also were talking about him giving a discount, and also you were asking about internet. So,
Oh, well, the internet organization will take care of that. So we're just asking for creation of a website. And this is a very basic website. He told me originally when I talked to him last year, during the summer, he said, he quoted 2,000. And then when I spoke to him again, he said, no, he said, I can't give you 2,000. You know, everything, prices went up, people have to be paid more. So he said, now a very basic website is 4,000. And the proposal that he sent has everything in it that it will contain. And this would be, we've never had a website, so this would be the very first website. You know, and like Al said from Mosaic Marketing, he said, you're in the dark ages. He said, you never had a website? He said, that's the same as not even being in existence, which is true. You know, people read an article I write, or they see, ordering webs on something, or we go to a fair, and they say, oh, what's this? Let me look them up. And there is nothing to look up, because we don't exist.
okay. And if we did not fund the whole cost of $4,000, how would the money be used for whatever if you weren't able to, if we didn't fund the whole thing, how would you go about doing the website?
We would have to raise the money. But during COVID, we couldn't do any of our fundraising events because that we have to have contact with the public, and everything was suspended. So we had some money put aside, and we had to use it for feed and for veterinary bills and upkeep of the enclosures. But we were working on putting aside money for a website. I had no idea it was that expensive, but that's considered a basic.
Could I ask, did you get any other quotes, though, for somebody to do a website? Did you ask any other companies that do them? Did you get other quotes?
No.
No?
Just for this company. Because we've seen the work that they do, and we liked it.
The other question I have is a lot of websites need to be maintained, and it comes at a cost. If the town were to help you fund a website, do you have the financial ability to maintain the website? Because we wouldn't want to.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And how much would that be?
To maintain it, I think it's, is it $400? And then that's not including, well, this company does everything. It's $400 a year.
I'm sorry, this is a piggyback on the council about requesting other
Can you
companies
talk
who
into the
do-
microphone that you have upside down?
Sorry.
Thank you.
This is piggyback on Marie, the council, as far as other website builders. And you didn't go to anybody else? You haven't searched for anybody else? Went out to bid for these?
No, we like the one that he had. And pretty much they're all the same.
Not necessarily, but I'm not going to argue with
Well,
you.
we're really big on presenting a professional image, and they do a really nice job. And
I know what they do.
Everything, we wouldn't have to do anything.
So
They would host it, they would, take care of it, anything would be updated. We would just provide the content.
I actually know the gentleman.
But we have,
Yes, I do. If you talk to him, I think you can get him down a little bit.
no, he won't budge.
Yeah.
If you talk to him.
I'm not in your business, so I can't do that, but I do know him, and, okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Were you
Yep.
know, yeah.
Yep, we have all the information in our packet.
We're a totally volunteer organization, and a lot of people think that because we're licensed by the DEEP, I have a state license and a federal from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And when people would bring us animals, they always thought that the state funded us, and they don't. They don't get reimbursed, everything's out of pocket.
Okay. So, what is the pleasure of the council? My suggestion would be, since we tabled the first one, and we have another application that we heard is coming through, is that we wait until we hear what the next application is, so that we can make a decision on all three of them at one time on there. So do I?
Motion table.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made to table and been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. All right, so it'll be on our next agenda when we get the other one. You don't, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the next item is NIP fund request to purchase of an A-frame sign and letters not to exceed $500.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This item comes before you as noted in the memo. Solid hazardous waste and recycling was authorized by the council last July to purchase 2 A-frame signs with an expected cost of $400, but they have not figured in their shipping costs in this price. So they almost only purchased one at a time, so they're asking the council to consider authorizing an additional amount not to exceed $500 so they could purchase another sign and some more letters for use with both signs.
Is there enough funding in the NIP? I know we pay some other things out of there, but there's enough funding, money in that fund to do this?
Yeah, there'd definitely be enough. I'm not sure what the net fund level is, but certainly there'd be $500 there. Anthony can pull it up. It's several thousand, I think.
There's other people out there that would do it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make the motion. The North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes an additional amount not to exceed $500 out of the NIP fund for the purchase of an additional A-frame sign and associated letters for use by the Solid Hazardous Waste and Recycling Committee.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Because it's not our place.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. The next item is setting additional budget hearing dates. So right now, the one scheduled date that we have for budget workshop is this Thursday, April 4th. There is nothing scheduled for next week, and we have to have the budget finalized at our April 16th meeting. So it's on here for discussion if the council would like to add another workshop for next week.
I personally would like to ask if we could possibly have one next Tuesday. I don't think we have enough time to do it, and some of us can't make the meeting on the 4th.
Right. Okay, so I know there's a number of people that cannot make it next week at all. It's school vacation.
Oh, right, I forgot about that.
And so, I mean, we can still have it. It's just, we just have to make sure we have a quorum of the council. I know Ron is not here, and Nick is not here, and Walt is not here, for sure. And Jeff has said, yes. Well, I mean, that's 4 out of the 9, so we have 5 left. So if the 5 can make it, we can still have it for, discussion purposes. I would suggest not making any cuts at that point in time, because we would only have 5 members, but we could still discuss things if we have to have 5 though, so. Bruce, Tom, are you guys,
Around next week?
are you around that you
Yes,
could?
yes.
Craig? Okay, I'm around, and so if you would like to, I'm fine with adding another meeting. I know there's going to be a number that are not here, but I'm fine with adding another meeting. So if someone would like to make a motion,
I'll make the motion to have another budget meeting on April 9th at 6:30 PM.
No.
Second.
okay? So the motion has been made and seconded to add an additional budget hearing on Tuesday, April 9th at 6:30, and that will be at Town Council Chambers. So any further discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. So motion carries, even though we know, I mean, we know people are not going to be here, but we had 5 that committed to it for next week, so we will set that date for April 9th. Okay. Next item is pole attachment agreement with Frontier Communications.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. This is something you have in your package. It's an agreement we negotiated with Southern New England Telephone Company, Frontier Communications, regarding municipal gain, and that is the ability of the town to construct and maintain a wire-based telecommunications network using the Frontier poles. And it's certain rights you have under the state, under PURA's jurisdiction and regulations. We've been negotiating this a number of months so that the town has the ability to put its telecommunications equipment on the poles that are already there.
Okay, so you have reviewed it and everything is fine as presented to us?
It is. We've been negotiating this for a number of months with Frontier to get what the town needs to have and should have in it, and they consented to our request ultimately.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Is there a reason why the language says SNAT still instead of Frontier?
that's, it actually, Frontier is only a DBA. It is Southern New England Telephone Company doing business as Frontier. That's its official name for Frontier.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept as presented?
So moved.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded.
And that was a motion authorizing the town manager to execute this agreement, correct, Mayor? I didn't hear the exact motion.
I'm trying to see if there is an exact motion here.
I didn't see one.
I didn't,
When I looked.
I just see the agreement. So what do you need the motion to read? That,
A motion for the town to enter into a pole attachment agreement with the Southern New England Telephone Company doing business as Frontier Communications, and to authorize the town manager, Michael Downs, to execute such agreement on behalf of the town of North Branford in such form as is acceptable to the town attorney.
so that's the motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Good job.
Did you get all that, Kathleen? Okay, great, thanks. So any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay. Last item is request for bid waiver for Smith & Wesson handguns.
Good evening. I believe in your packet you have a memo from me requesting a bid waiver for the ARPA funds. You graciously approved the police department for the purchase of, to outfit our officers with new handguns. To save money and to get a better product, we went straight to the manufacturer instead of going to a third party. Through partnerships that we've obtained over the years, we were fortunate enough to do that. That's not something that's common to happen. To go out to bid, we would have to go out to a third party, which would ultimately cost us more money, and we'd have to switch to a different product. So we have to request money for that purchase.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve a bid waiver for the purchase of the Smith & Wesson handguns for the police department?
Motion is stipulated.
Second?
Discussion? Are there any other questions from the council?
I have one question. The old handguns, so this is a question I have. Is it, I mean, obviously, we're not in the business of selling handguns. Is it legal for you to sell the handguns to the people who own them presently?
Yeah, so what happened with the state of Connecticut is they went to all firearm purchases have to go through a federal licensed firearm dealer, which are commonly referred to as an FFL. So what would happen in that case, if we so choose, we would follow the town's policies on surplus equipment, get those approvals. The town would transfer the firearms through the FFL, who then coordinates the paperwork with the state of Connecticut Special Firearms Unit, and then those are put into the individual's names who purchase those items. It's done commonly in law enforcement work, but yes, there is a process, and we would follow that state statute process.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
No?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, motion carries 801. All right, thank you. All right, we are going to go back to item 11C, Town Center Committee.
Thank you. I think the question has to do with the charter. As you know, you have section 10-3 of the charter, which is conflict of offices. And as currently written, it prohibits a person from holding more than one elective or council-appointed office, position, or committee membership in the town at the same time. And there's certain exceptions, such as a notary public, justice of the peace, or if you created some type of a joint board, commission, committee, or coordinating body. But as in the case with the Permanent Projects Building Committee, you can create the Town Center Committee having special participants, if you will, essentially type of a liaison type position, special participant, so you can get involvement of individuals who may be on other boards or commissions at the present time. But I guess the question went to, I think the question was, why do we have the same people all the time? That's a question, just of the volunteers that you have to choose. You can choose a committee, your town center committee, with all different faces or different individuals that don't serve on anything right now, certainly. But if you wanted to create it with special participants like you've done in the past, that would not be inappropriate.
Would those liaisons that you mentioned, would they be voting members of that committee, or would they just be there for, to add their special knowledge?
I think it'd just be to add the special knowledge would be the appropriate way to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the makeup of the Town Center Committee was in our last packet. I don't see it in this packet, so we can either table it to our next meeting so we can have it in front of us, or
What you could do is you can add them to the special liaison to the rubric committee, no?
We've already approved that.
I would say we table it.
okay.
I'll make a motion to table this so we can discuss.
I'll second that.
Okay. The motion has been made to table the Town Center Committee. Do you want to do it at our April 16th or our May meeting?
I'd say the main
May.
meeting. Yeah.
Okay. So we will table it to our May meeting. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries to table. Okay, down to item 13, citizen statements and petitions. Any comments? Okay. Seeing none, motion to
Make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion, we are adjourned. The budget workshop will start at 7:30. Thank you, everyone, for coming. If you are not staying for the budget workshop, you are welcome to leave at this time. I'd like to call the town council budget hearing for fiscal year 2024-25 to order. It is 7:31. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Where's, oh, there she is. Roll call? Oh. Okay. Can you take that microphone there and just hold it at your, because people are going to come up to this one.
You're probably right.
Mayor Angeloni,
Here.
Deputy Mayor McMillan,
Present.
Councilor Abelson,
Here.
Councilor Diamond,
Here.
Councilor Gold,
Here.
Councilor Miller,
Here.
Councilor Palicia,
Here.
Councilor Palladino,
Here.
Councilor Zampano.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next item is presentation of the fiscal year 2024-25 budget. And the first up will be the town manager.
Evening, Mayor, Town Council, members of the public. This is our presented, proposed 2024-25 budget for the town. So just a little bit about the budget process that we're going through right now. The town's priorities are set by locating resources. The town manager's role is to review requests submitted by town departments, make adjustments, and submit them to the town council. The town council reviews the town manager's proposal, conducts workshops and a public hearing, like we're doing tonight, and makes the final adjustments to the budget and holds the referendum vote in May. So like many other towns across the nation, we face similar challenges. Local governments across the U.S. are facing these same challenges: inflation, increased cost of materials, supplies, and services, and costs have increased for employee benefits, insurance, electricity, just to name a few. State budget challenges on the state front. They impact North Branford by state budget and policy decisions. The uncertainty of state revenue. Currently, the state revenue is equivalent to 12.15% of our total town proposed budget. That's town and education together, right, Branford. Unfunded mandates, police accountability, risk warrants, evictions, MS4, and others. Those all affect our bottom line. Local budget challenges. Those are, of course, to maintain the town services and critical infrastructure despite escalating costs, and balance the service needs of the community against an increasing burden on taxpayers. Town departments seeking increased funding levels to support resident service demands, and state mandates. So state revenue trends, just to show you a little bit about what we've gotten in state revenue and a little bit of backstory behind that, going back to fiscal year 16 to 17. You can see what we've been receiving for state aid. Right now, the fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget, the biennial adjustments from Governor Lamont have restored the education cost share grant for North Branford back to 2020 to 23 levels. So that's an increase of $219,239 over last year. The increase of this proposed budget is 8.98%. Town government operations increased by 7.86%. Board of Education is 7.72%. Debt service is 18.16%. You can see here that the general government makes up of the increase $1.6 million. Debt service is $887,000. Education is $2.5 million. Capital improvements are reduced $280,696 for a total of $5.3 million. Debt service service this year, our new debt service associated with the new police station is $165,382. This includes the communications upgrade. And education projects, which include the high school, middle school, and Stanley T. Williams roof projects, account for over $1.2 million in debt service this year. ARPA funding, as you know, we received ARPA funding from the federal government a couple of years ago. That total was over $4.1 million. This year, the town council made some additional critical investments with the ARPA funding that addressed essential infrastructure needs without turning to local taxpayers. Just as a note, federal law does not allow municipalities to use these funds for direct tax relief, but we're able to use them for investments in infrastructure that the town council has done over the past couple of years. Just to remind you, last year, some of the things that the council invested in with that ARPA funding, they did $500,000 of bridge maintenance, $500,000 in road infrastructure upgrades, $140,000 for a police mobile command, $250,000 for the new Tower 1 fire apparatus, $400,000 for a fiber network installation, $10,000 for restoration of the Little Red Schoolhouse, and fund for nonprofits to apply for. They set a $50,000 pool. This year, they did a mobile generator for Department of Public Works and electric upgrades for $400,000, an active shooter kits for the PD at $57,000, license plate readers for the PD at $111,000, new service weapons for the PD at $21,000. The Dodge Durango K-9 vehicle for the PD, $58,000. Additional bridge restoration funds, $155,000, and added to the nonprofit pool fund allocation by $25,000. So the revenue to finance the proposed budget. Changes in the grand list. The property tax remains the town's main source of revenue and continues to assume a greater role in funding the budget. Our net grand list increase this year was 0.18%. That's equal to $61,436, and that is clearly an anemic growth. Gone are the artificial bumps we received in the last couple of years, which were due to the skyrocketing motor vehicle values. Those artificially inflated our values. I think last year was a 1.78, and the year before that was like a 3 point something. So those were artificially inflated, and they're coming down to real levels. Use of the fund balance. The fund balance is traditionally used to provide a form of tax relief. Town council has been disciplined in measuring the use of the fund balance in previous years, and this year we're proposing using $725,000 of the fund balance for fiscal '25 as we did the prior year. And our fund balance allocation remains within normal ranges. Other revenues. Interest income is expected to improve slightly as interest rates are increased. Permit revenue is projected to remain relatively flat in association with level building activity. And real estate conveyance is also predicted to remain flat. General government expenditures. You can see the map out of what our proposed expenditures are per item. Personnel costs are accounting for 26% of the budget. Materials and supplies, 2.8%. Contractual services at 21.4%. Capital outlay at 0.3%. Benefits and insurance at 21.4%. Operating transfers at 0.26%, debt service at 27%, capital improvement plan at 1.6%. Expressed differently, this is a graph to just sort of show you the weight of each item against its other. You can see that contractual services, benefits and insurance, and personnel costs, and debt service are the big bears when it comes to these items. Expenditure summary for general government. We're at 28.5%, public safety 36.4%, public works 14.1%, culture and recreation 1.3%, health and welfare 8.5%, WPCA is $100, it's 0.0. Contingencies 3.4%, and operating transfers 0.25%. So expressed in the graph, you can see public safety eating up the largest portion of general government expenditures. General government and public works also carrying a large load here. Fixed costs, increase in our fixed cost expenses, refuse removal. Municipal waste is increasing everywhere, and it's increased in here in our town by $42,000 as we enter the third of our 5-year contract. Healthcare and insurance, employees covered by state partnership plan, their rates are up roughly 3%, and property and casualty new buildings get added to our inventory and premiums are increasing. Just a note to touch on our senior homeowner tax credit. There are increases in that are being phased in. The council made it a priority to reduce the local tax burden on qualifying seniors and those with disabilities. The benefit amount in 2022 and prior was $300, and the effective July 1st, 23, last summer, the council upped that to $500, and we have a new scheduled increase going into effect this July 1st for $700. The revenue loss associated with doing this is, prior to 2022, was $37,200, and then after the July 1st of last year increased to $74,000, and then this year it's projected to be under $3,600. And the cap was previously $700,000 in this proposed budget. We've set the cap is set at $125,000. An important element of this budget is keeping our public safety commitment. As everyone's aware, we increased personnel this year. Last year, the council approved 2 new police officers, and the town's meeting the obligation that comes with the new salaries and benefits. The police department received a COPS grant for 4 new additional officers. They've hired 2 of those so far, and the town meets the obligation of the benefits for those new hires. We're also keeping up with Public Works. The Public Works personnel was increased last year by the council with multitudes of new public projects and maintenance this year. The Public Works department their capacity is stretched. The council made the investment last year to hire a new highway crew member, and we're carrying that forward. Expenditures for capital improvements. Capital requests from departments this year totaled $5.5 million. I've reduced this proposed request by $1.6 million to $3,848,500. Capital improvements include townwide maintenance reserve created in 2021 to address needs of town buildings, police vehicles addressing periodic replacement of police vehicles, Public Works small equipment reserve, which allows replacement equipment for PW operations, and pavement overlay patch reconstruction funds for portions of the road improvement program. The proposed tax rate in this proposed budget requires a 38.41 mill rate, a proposed increase of 3.89 mils over the adopted 2023-24 budget rate of 34.52 mils. Reductions in requests. Department requests, along with Board of Education this year, totaled $65,346,104, requiring a 39.14 mill rate. I propose reducing these requests by $96,520 to $65.2 million, requiring a 38.41 mill rate. In addition, I'm proposing to move $800,000 from our unallocated fund balance into capital to help reduce the burden on taxpayers. This keeps our unallocated fund balance at 10.8%, keeping within our policies so as not to impact our standing with credit rating agencies. So the value of the mill is $1,398,877. Proposed 3.89 mill rate increase equals $4,847,029 to be paid in new taxes. What this equals in impact to the taxpayers, if you look at an average home valued at $300,000 in town, has an assessed value of $210,000. The tax bill in fiscal year 23 to 24, based on a 34.52 mill rate, is $7,249.20. The estimated tax bill on the 38.41 mill rate is $8,066.10. So an increased tax bill for the average homeowner of $816.90. Reduction options that we have: expenditure options, further reduction of capital expenditures, reducing operating budgets, and then revenue options are increasing the fund balance allocations, but this is not recommended because I did that a lot and I'm not going to go any further than where we are at 10.8%. And that concludes my presentation, and next up will be my friend and colleague, Scott Shoemaker, Superintendent of Schools.
Actually, I think the board chair is going to be presenting. Shauna Hollister.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you explain what debt service is?
Sure. The debt service that we're paying is the increased cost of borrowing the money for the projects that we have. So the projects that I noted, the education ones that are associated with the high school, Stanley T. Williams, it's the increased cost of the money that we use to get those projects secured on the town
So
side.
the $5+ million is interest? Is that what you're saying?
$5 million?
Yeah, the debt service?
Now, the debt service is,
Well, it probably includes,
3.2 million is,
thank you.
3325 is principal, 2,449,000 is interest.
Okay,
So, yeah.
thank you.
Can I have a show of hands of any taxpayer that is here that's not affiliated with Park and Rec, the Police Department, Public Works, Fire Department? I'm just curious to know how many taxpayers that we have here that are not affiliated with one of the budgets tonight.
We all are.
I would encourage taxpayers to let their voices be heard. We have these forums for them, so that's just my plug for that. We don't know what you want if you don't come and tell us. We are doing something a little different, and we did the same spiel last week. We were hoping for a new audience with some additional folks, right? But we don't see so many additional folks. What we're doing tonight is showing you what our budget pays for. We'll go through it in abbreviation, but if you want to know the details, we do have budgets on the tables, and we know that this has been given to Town Council as well. I know there have been some additional questions that have made their way to Martha and Scott, and they will be answered on Thursday. And Rose, I did make sure that they're addressed. I don't think there'll be a lot of Q&A tonight. I think that will mostly be held for Thursday. But if there is anything that bubbles up, please feel free to ask. Mike, it was really interesting to hear that our property tax is the main source of town revenue. I always kind of knew that, but I never really knew that. And being in the town for the last 10 years or so and growing up in North Branford, I always wondered where our industry was and why wasn't that a more lucrative form of taxpayers' money. But that is totally a different topic. That has nothing to do with the Board of Ed, but I just found that very interesting. With that said, we are an advocate for children, all of us on the Board of Education. We also have to balance the taxpayers' dollars. We understand that we're over 50% of the budget for the town. We also understand that if we increase our budget too greatly, that impacts the mill rate and it impacts everybody's pocketbook. So while we're advocating for children, right, we have to advocate for their parents as well because their parents pay the bill, right? That's how it is. Happy parents, happy kids, happy parents. Well, in North Branford, we have a very diverse population. Some of our children are raised by grandparents, by aunts, by uncles. It's not a town that doesn't have diversity. We are a diverse town. When you look at these fantastic pictures, every kid has a story. And you know what, when I see that, I'm like, is my daughter in that picture? Right? I do have a kid in school, which is super fun to be the board chair at this point. We have somewhere around 23% of households in the school system, but our reach is much further than that. We know that people come back to town. They go to college, they learn a trade, but they come back to town to live and raise their children. And that's a huge credit for what we are as a community. Whether it's our education system, whether it's how we volunteer, whether it's our friendships, people come back to North Branford. The district currently employs approximately 333 people. Out of those employees, 104 reside in North Branford and 91 reside in Northford. 69 of those staff people are graduates of North Branford High School. Kids come back. That's not including the coaches. That's not including the kids who volunteer, the kids that come back at Roundup. What is that called? I'm losing my mind. Around Thanksgiving time. Carter, I know you. It's in the middle.
Community Roundup.
Community Roundup, yes. Community Roundup. I see kids coming back from college and driving, the middle schoolers, to Community Roundup. That's enormous. So now why
It's a
are we
budget
here?
meeting, right?
The Board of Education is asking for a 7.7% increase. That's about $2.5 million. Yes, it is steep. We know this. So we want to tell you what this money goes for instead of just telling you the dollars. We want to tell you the story.
Also majors, how it's.
Judy, I'd like you to tell us about North Branford through the decades. Give us some idea of how education has changed.
Good evening, everyone. Judy Bannon, Board of Ed member. At these hearings, we often hear people state that the education they received was good enough for them, and it should be good enough for us today. I'd like to just take a moment to address the differences in some teaching now and then. When some of us were children, class sizes were larger. Teachers used a conventional method of learning which heavily relied on recitation, where each student took turn reading aloud while the other sat silently just listening. Knowledge was always transmitted from teacher to student via lecture-based learning and rote memorization. A one-size-fits-all education was utilized and did not take into account individual differences in learning style, abilities, or pace. In this inflexible learning environment, students were not developing critical thinking, problem-solving, or decision-making skills. In the present day, educators are using scientifically based instructional strategies and are charged with finding the balance between teaching foundational skills and challenging students to think critically, utilizing methodologies such as project-based learning, cooperative learning, and problem-based learning, just to name a few. Educators are challenging students to develop their thinking skills way beyond memorization, stretching us to combine our curriculum with skills that enable students to be prepared for the real world. The role of the educator has evolved. They mentor students while leading them in rich discussions, plan vibrant lessons, all while making certain that individual student needs are met. In order to achieve success in life, today's students require a different education to prepare them for careers that didn't even exist when I was a child. In my opinion, North Branford's focus on building thinking cultures and making thinking visible meets all of the criteria to obtain success for our students.
Thank you, Judy. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank the town council for their empathy, their diligence, and really looking into the budgets. It would not be fair for our taxpayers, for our children, or the Board of Education if you didn't do your due diligence. So we are so happy that this is such a respectful exchange this year. We really appreciate that. So salaries make up about $21 million of our budget, and that's about 60%. 10 of our teachers have earned their bachelor's, 97 have earned their master's, 51 have earned their 6th year, and 8 have earned 7th years. But this is not just the makeup. We have award-winning teachers, and we are a small town. Judy, tell us all about all the awards.
So most of you have heard this already, but I'm just going to read the list again because I'm really proud of our excellent educators. In our staff, we have 5 North Branford High School educators who are fellowship award recipients from the Fund for Teachers. Our language arts teacher, Rob Ford, earned the National Council Teachers of English Quarterly Award for an article that he published in their national publication. Our technology department at North Branford High School was named the Connecticut Technology Department of the Year in 2024. This year, Babby Noon was inducted into the National Field Hockey Coaches Association Hall of Fame. Cindy Tirolo, TBS nurse and nursing coordinator, was recognized as a North Branford Education Foundation Shining Star for her leadership during COVID. Jill Feltus is an Auschwitz Legacy Fellow. She will gain first-hand experience at the Auschwitz Museum in Poland this summer to share that experience with her colleagues and her students. Diane Artiz was selected as the Special Olympics Unified Coach of the Year in 2017. Elizabeth Kaplan was recognized as a North Branford Education Foundation Shining Star and received the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce Women of Excellence Award. Jackie Thurston was a Fulbright Scholar, a global educator, and has also received Connecticut Voice Magazine's Unsung Hero Award. Shelley Thompson, Totucket Valley's 4th grade teacher, received the prestigious Milken Educator Award in 2010. In 2017, Dr. Welch, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, was recognized as an outstanding school administrator by the NEAG School of Education. The American Heart Association recognized Brent Ramsey and Dave Carpenter, physical education teachers from Jerome and TVS, and their students for raising almost $500,000 over the past 15 years. Finally, North Branford celebrated Lauren Danner as the 2017 Connecticut Teacher of the Year, Jackie Thurston, 2019, a Connecticut Teacher of the Year finalist, and myself last year as a Connecticut Teacher of the Year semifinalist. By their nature, teachers do not seek out awards. The awards find them, and they are so well deserved. We could not be more proud of our teaching staff. We are envy proud and envy lucky.
So you might ask why we need all these fabulous teachers, right? Well, research supports class size of about 18 to 20 offers the best chance for success. And that's what we want to give our children, whether they're going into a career, whether they're going to college, whether they're joining the military, or whether they're going to learn a trade. Right now, our current class size at Jerome Harrison is 18 to 21, TVES is 19 to 21, NBIS 20 to 24, and North Branford High School 15 to 24. The board voted on the superintendent's budget. This includes the cost to retain 4 instructional coaches and 1 social worker that have been paid for via grants. We acknowledge when grants are pursued, there should be measures of success put in place to determine if the program is meeting the goal. We also realize we need to look for alternatives to funded initiatives other than the cost being absorbed by the Board of Ed when the grant ends. But I want to tell you a little bit about why we need coaches and social workers so you can understand why we voted to support absorbing this cost.
At our last budget workshop, I shared testimonies from our instructional coaches. And tonight I'd like to focus on the need for the additional social worker. That's in our budget request. I will, however, reiterate that Dr. Welch, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, shared data with me that suggests strong growth related to our instructional coaching. Our coaches feel an extreme obligation to consistently think about how we as a district can move forward. There is always new learning to be shared, and they embrace their role wholeheartedly. Their work allows teachers and students to believe that they have the capacity to succeed even when something is challenging. To address the need for the additional social worker, I'd like to share a personal story from my time as an educator. On August 27, 2001, I signed my contract to begin work here in North Branford. I enjoyed 15 days of normalcy in my classroom when the 9/11 attacks took place. When all the students had left the building safely, that day we put aside our own fears and immediately began prepping to have appropriate supports in place to receive our students back to school the very next day. December 14, 2012, we heard the news of the Sandy Hook shooting. I was horrified and especially touched because I had recently visited Sandy Hook Elementary School when a former colleague and friend was principal there. Staff, parents, and student alike began to think, what if? In March of 2020, we dealt with a pandemic where COVID-19 was literally killing people. As a district, we moved to distance learning for the remainder of that year. When we returned to in-person learning the following fall, we welcomed back students who had lost many social skills and were feeling great anxiety about returning to the school setting. Every day, I came to school with my lessons prepared and a plan for how I would protect my students in the event something awful happened. Although families did their best to shield them, our students felt every bit of those worldly events. Students who experience these events have been forever changed. We are still seeing the results of pandemic isolation in our students, but our mental health staff is there for them. Students who are mentally healthy come to school ready to learn. Those who are not need our support, and their work is essential in supporting these students. Our students present to us with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and social emotional difficulties, among others. In addition, our social workers and school psychologists work with all students to reinforce the concepts of self-worth, acceptance, conflict resolution, celebrating our differences, understanding our emotions and feelings, to name just a few. We would like to keep staff in place to support students who need it, so that we can maximize their academic success and minimize the negative impact on their education.
We do have a tremendous staff at all of our North Branford schools. Most of our salaries are contractual, and as town council knows, you have the right to reject any contract negotiated by the Board of Education. So that's always within your purview if you don't feel that we've negotiated properly. Let's move on to benefits. It makes up about 16% of our budget, about a little over $5.5 million. The town and the Board of Education share medical benefits, so you know what the cost and how much benefits go up annually. Cost sharing is outlined in the union contracts. We have the opportunity to align non-union positions with similar union positions for consistency, and we know that's an area of opportunity that we're working towards. Employees under the teacher's contract pay 23% of their medical and dental benefit costs. So that is a contribution that should be noted. Again, for example, opportunity sits with bringing outdated methodologies to modern practices around sick time and carryover. This would, again, have to be negotiated through union contracts, but there is opportunity. It's not something the Board of Ed can control on its own, but it's something that we can bring to the table. Special education makes up about $2 million of our budget. The law requires that students with disabilities have the same right to a public education that students without disabilities have. This means that we must provide modifications, aids, and related services free of charge to students with disabilities and their parents or guardians. Cost and the number of children vary year to year, and we're not certain of what our reimbursement rate will be. From what I understand, the reimbursement is twice per year, and we can go over a threshold, but again, the reimbursement will and may change. So we might get a big check from what I understand in the middle of the year, and then there's something that happens and we don't get the same check at the end of the year that we anticipated, so it's a bit of a moving target. We also have about $2.5 million in facilities. John is phenomenal, his staff is phenomenal. They do so much work that we would have to contract out by themselves. They work summers, they work weekends, very diligently. John has a maintenance plan. He often updates us on the plan so that our buildings stay intact. We do maintain our buildings. We maintain it with the best products we can get. We do it within a fiscally responsible budget, and we do it with capital funds. One area of opportunity that we do have is looking year over year at our capital projects to see what has been resolved and what hasn't, and if something was on a previous year that hasn't been moved to the next year, explaining why it's not on that list. It may have been resolved and may have something that bumped it right out of the way, so there could be various reasons, but I think it is important to track that since it's been brought up as a point of interest. This is just a high-level view of our budget. North Branford schools create a community we can be proud of, and that's not something you can put a dollar figure on. We have softball teams that have won 8 in a row shoreline titles. We have field hockey kids that have won 7 shorelines and 3 state titles. Our lacrosse team has won shoreline 4 years, and we're runner-up 3. We have baseball shoreline runner-ups. We have indoor track and volleyball, all making tournaments and all showing up. We have an incredible play that's put on by both middle school and high school. We have fantastic clubs that engage, but our kids want to come back to town. That's community. We understands students have varying home lives, socioeconomic situations, and goals. We support various paths to success, including college, the trades, and the military. We acknowledge there are more than standardized test scores to measure success. But you know what we do? And I can attest this, because I have a high schooler. We hold our kids accountable. We teach them that their actions have impact and their actions have consequences, whether they are good or bad, that you make a difference in your future. And that's hugely important. Let's take a deeper dive to look ahead and what we can do as the Board of Education for funding. We do know that the dollar per pupil does not equal higher achievement. We need to evaluate how the most successful schools are spending their money. We need to dig deep into our workflows to see if we can find efficiency and savings and maybe some capacity for our teachers and our administrators. We need to be mindful of grants to determine how and if they can be sustained without Board of Ed absorbing the cost. We need to make sure we have defined, strong measures in place so we can clearly see success or failure of programs and interventions. And we need to evaluate overtime and workers' comp spending. For Thursday, we had some questions, and they will be prepared. So we have headcounts for 3 identified years and COVID grants and how the money will be spent or was spent during that time frame. I want to thank you all for your time and your consideration with our budget, and I know you'll do what's best for the town and for our students. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the presentations from the town manager and the Board of Education. And now we will move on to the public hearing on the fiscal year 2024-25 budget. So this is the opportunity that townspeople will have to come up and speak. When you come up, please state your name, your address, and we will have a 3-minute limit. Not so sure that that is really going to make a difference. But the first thing I would like to do is we did receive a letter from a resident who could not be here tonight, which I will read on their behalf and put it into the record. This letter is from Elizabeth Kaplan, 33 Maltby Lane in Northford. Dear members of the Town Council, I regret that I am unable to present in person to address you this evening as 2 of our North Branford High School seniors are being honored for their exceptional achievements in visual art at AquaTurf. Nonetheless, I wish to convey my strong support for the proposed budget before the Town Council for the upcoming fiscal year. As a dedicated resident and taxpayer in our community, I firmly believe that this budget accurately reflects the needs and priorities of our town, paving the way for its sustained growth and prosperity. Upon careful review of the budget proposal, I am heartened by the deliberate allocation of resources to essential services, including public safety, infrastructure maintenance, park and recreation, library services, and education. These investments are paramount in ensuring the safety, well-being, and overall quality of life for all residents. Moreover, I commend the forward-thinking initiatives aimed at tackling pressing issues confronting our community, such as affordable housing endeavors, economic development projects, and the establishment of a town center. The steadfast support for the construction of a new high school and police station is a testament to our dedication and will undoubtedly enhance our community's appeal to prospective newcomers. These proactive measures underscore a steadfast commitment to addressing present challenges while laying a sturdy foundation for a vibrant and resilient future. As a proud member of this community, I wholeheartedly endorse this budget and implore the Town Council to grant its approval. I firmly believe that by doing so, we will fortify the continued prosperity and well-being of our town and its residents. In closing, I extend my sincerest gratitude for your unwavering dedication and service to our community. I am confident that you will give due consideration to the needs and priorities of all residents as you deliberate on the proposed budget. Thank you for your time and attention. Warm regards, Elizabeth Kaplan. Are there any other members of the public that are here that would like to get up and make comments? Going once, going twice. Okay. I would like to close this public hearing at 8:11 p.m. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming. Our next meeting, budget workshop, will be on this Thursday, April 4th at 6:30 here at the cafeteria.